Herbert Fahr Jr., seaman recruit to Engineman second class. I was always interested in the Navy. One of my uncles had been a Navy man, and actually he sailed in the tall ships at one time, and he was a master carpenter. He also was the chief engineer and the master carpenter aboard the yacht that belonged to Vincent Astor. The Norma Hall was the name of the yacht, and he traveled all over the world with that yacht and had pictures and mementos from all over the world, a lot from the South Seas. And this was kind of the inspiration for me to follow in his footsteps and join the Navy. I graduated from high school and worked a little bit, and finally went down Whitehall Street in New York City and signed up. My mother, she didn't care too much because I was right in the middle of the Korean War, and she thought I was going off to war. Well, in one sense of the word, I was, but as it turned out, I went to Bainbridge, Maryland to boot camp for 3 months in the middle of June, July, and August, and it was very warm there. And in the part of the boot camp training was marching on the grinder, they called the grinder. And in essence, it was a grinder because it wasn't paved and it was full of rocks. And it was very, very difficult to march in unison as a group. That's when I decided to join the drill team, where we could march on the gymnasium floor. And that also got me out of Hell Week, which is when this particular company goes into the mess hall and becomes mess cooks, cleaning, working in the scullery, working behind the slinging hash is what we used to say. However, I got off on that, but after boot camp, we were in the outgoing unit, OGU, and waiting for orders to our next assignment. And my next assignment was 3 months in the mess hall. So I waited there and got orders to report to Newport, Rhode Island, actually on an island in the middle of Narragansett Bay, where they had a torpedo testing station. It was actually called Underwater Demolition Unit. I was an engineman striker by that time, and we had maybe about 30 small boats, all running Gray Marine 671 engines, diesel engines. And we would go out and chase these torpedoes once they were fired from the test torpedo tubes. Every once in a while we would get a submarine that came in. And that was the routine out on Gould Island. Occasionally we got a submarine come in and I would go aboard, and it was fascinating, it was interesting. I had an inkling at that time that maybe I would like to get into submarines. I also had some inspiration on that matter. My boss, a guy by the name of George Platter, was a first-class engineman, and my mentor, had been in the Navy during World War II. And if you remember the movie Destination Tokyo, where they, in the submarine, they had to operate on a sailor who had appendix, a burst appendix. Well, that was George Platter. And it was interesting to make the comparison. So I submitted to submarine school, and I was accepted. However, the physical I took before I went to submarine school wasn't thorough enough, and as it happened to be, my ears couldn't take the various pressures that would be put on it, you know, in a submarine. They have a 100-foot water tower on the at New London at the submarine school, and everybody has to go into that tower on the bottom, and they close it up, and then they open it, fill it up with water, and then they open up a hatch, and you have 100 feet of water above you, and that's you're testing what they call a mumps and lung. And well, once they opened that hatch with that pressure of 100 feet of water above, my ears popped and I had a little blood coming out of them. So immediately, boom, you know, they had guys in scuba gear as safety guys. And so I was dismissed from the submarine corps. I became captain of the head for a week and finally got my orders that said, report to the commanding officer, USS Missouri, Norfolk, Virginia.